Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21 12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in, Hunt Palmer, coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Friday. That means we're brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Got Jordan Kitchens and Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. Fired up, you're here with us. If your work week's in the rearview mirror, cheers. If not, we'll get you to the finish line here on the show. Lots to do over the next 2 hours. I'm excited for the show today. I'm obviously excited that LSU starts baseball in SEC tonight. We will get into that. It's just a huge weekend for both LSU and Vanderbilt this weekend. We'll talk LSU football with Preston Guy coming up in 15 minutes. Bottom of the hour, Andrew Allegretta. He is the voice of the Vanderbilt Commodores in football and in baseball. He'll be on the call tonight from the Hawk. We'll talk to Andrew at 1:30. Travis Etienne talked with the media earlier today. Should I say Travis Etienne talked to the media earlier today. We got a name change. It says, well, I'm back in South Louisiana. Y'all should be able to figure this out. So I guess we'll try to make that adjustment as we move forward. We'll hear from him a little bit later on. Todd Horne is the editor over at Tiger Rag, and he is going to join us at 2 o'clock. He, of course, is one of the plaintiffs in the lawsuit brought against LSU that is requesting information about the revenue share payments. It is Piper Hutchinson from the Illuminator. It is Chris Nakamoto from WAFB and Todd Horn from Tiger Rag. He will join us at 2 o'clock to lay out their case as to why they believe they are entitled to that information. I'm excited about that conversation at 2 o'clock. I'll preview the SEC weekend in baseball, and there's some more Saints news as well, plus scores from the conference tournaments around the country in college basketball. So that kind of sets the table. We got plenty to do. Let's crank it up.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
A pair of proud programs get things under the way in Nashville tonight. It's a 6 o'clock first pitch from Nashville between LSU and Vanderbilt. Of course, Tim Corbin has won a couple of national championships at Vanderbilt. He has played for 2 more. Jay Johnson has won 2 national championships at LSU, played for another at Vanderbilt. So I'm excited about the heavyweight nature of this battle, but it's not about the programs. It's about these two teams, and these two teams have not played well enough thus far. Vanderbilt is 11-7. They've got the worst overall mark in the Southeastern Conference. LSU has lost more pre-conference games this season than they have in any season since 2007. I outlined yesterday just how difficult LSU's schedule is in SEC play, really beginning with week 4. Weeks 4, 5, 6, 7 are just brutal. It's important to get off to a good start, and that has to start tonight. I want to talk to you about Vanderbilt because you know about LSU, and we'll expound upon this with Andrew Allegretta coming up in 30 minutes. But this is a Vanderbilt team that is 11-7 on the year, as I mentioned. And as I've talked about, even when LSU was losing some of those midweek games early on in the season, I believe your team is best exemplified on the weekend. You're throwing your number 1 starter. You're throwing your number 2 starter. You're using your key bullpen guys. You're extending guys maybe past where you might on a Tuesday because you're trying to win games. I think the weekend is the most emblematic description of your team. And Vanderbilt's 6-6 on the weekend. They lost 2 out of 3 in Arlington. They lost to TCU and lost to Oklahoma State. And they beat Texas Tech. And they went out to Vegas, and they got swept by Irvine, Arizona, and Oregon. They lost last Sunday to North Dakota State. So 6-6 on the weekend to this point. Offensively, this team has taken on a completely different personality than the last 2 or 3 under Tim Corbin. They are not hitting for a super high batting average. They're 7th in the SEC. They are not hitting a lot of doubles. They're 9th in the SEC. They are hitting a lot of home runs. They only hit 66 last year. They're up to 44, and we're only through 4 weeks. We've got 10 to go. We're just over 25% done here, and they are well beyond halfway from their home run total from last year. So they are slugging. But with those slug comes strikeouts, and they are 4th most in the SEC in strikeouts. They're not running a lot. They're 9th in stolen bases, and they're 9th in on-base percentage. It's a slugging team right now at Vanderbilt. And their pitching is what you have come to expect one type of pitcher from Vanderbilt, and you haven't gotten that this year. They're 14th in the SEC in ERA. They have the second most walks in the Southeastern Conference, and they're 7th in strikeouts. Plus, they're not fielding it great. They're 6th in the SEC. That's okay, but you expect a Tim Corbin team to have power arms, dominant arms, great fielding, and hit the ball for average, and that's just not what this Vanderbilt team is. So let's talk about the matchup with LSU when you look at that as a whole. The ace you're going to see from Vanderbilt tonight is very good. Connor Fennell is very good. But Connor Fennell is not David Price. He is not Kumar Rocker or Jack Leiter. He's not Walker Buehler. He's not Carson Fulmer. He's not Carter Holton. He's not one of these first-round pick, slam dunk, all-American dudes that all the MLB teams are salivating over. He's a completely different pitcher. Very effective as a college pitcher, but completely different. Now, when you see him take the mound, if you've never seen Connor Fennell before, you'll look at him and go, oh, yeah, that's exactly what a Vanderbilt ace looks like. Because he looks really long and lanky, and you would imagine the guy that looks like that at Vanderbilt is going to be one of these guys that rips at 98 and will grow into his frame and become a monster. And Fennell's just skinny. Like, he looks long and lanky on TV, but he's only 6'1". He's just 180 pounds. And so what he does is he's got elbows and kneecaps flying everywhere when he delivers. It is goofy, it is quirky, it is long, and then it's deceptive. And his fastball is going to sit 88 to 90. He might bump 91 in the first inning if he's really feeling good. But he's 88 to 90. But he throws a changeup a ton, and it never goes above the knees, and he gets a lot of strikeouts with it. And then with that 88 to 90 mile an hour fastball, he will throw a 69 mile an hour spinning thing. Probably a curveball. It's hard for me to suggest it's a slider at 69, but it's slow. So the deception, I mean, that's 20 miles an hour that you're taking off the fastball for this breaking ball, and the changeup kind of looks like it. They both sink, they're heavy, and he gets a lot of strikeouts. This is not his first rodeo in the SEC. This is not a guy that showed up, he's taken it out on bad teams, and then he's going to get to the SEC and get ambush. He was in the SEC last year. He went 4-0 with a 3.21 ERA. He pitched 42 league innings, gave up 15 earned runs. He struck out 67 and walked 9. SEC hitters last year hit 178 against him. He gave up 9 homers, which was susceptible to the homer if you consider over 10 weeks of SEC play. But the SEC numbers were very good last year, and the numbers, once again, are very good this year. So it's a pitcher that LSU hasn't really seen to this point. It's a goofy delivery. It's a ton of straight changeups. It's a slow breaking ball, and it's effective. And I'm curious how Jay Johnson will stack this lineup, because you would suggest, okay, right-handed pitcher, load it with your lefties. Up top, it's got to be Curiel, Brown, Milam, York, Braun, like all your left-handed dudes that you're trusting. But if he throws that changeup a ton, that fades away from the left-handed barrel. Fades. Do you want to throw a bunch of lefties? I don't know what the splits are. I don't have access to that. So I want to see what Jay Johnson sees in the splits, sees on the tape, and see how he handles things. He might put an extra right-hander in there if you really want to try to take the changeup away from Connor Fennell. But he's a very difficult matchup for everybody. As far as LSU's matchup goes, and it's especially true with the 3 starting pitchers LSU will go to and Sheeran, which are probably your most important pitchers. I would also throw Gavin Guidry in there and whatever. But like Vanderbilt is, as I mentioned, susceptible to the strikeout. They have struck out the 4th most times among SEC teams. And LSU has led the nation in strikeouts 2 years in a row and leads the conference in strikeouts to this point. They may get you for a solo homer here or there. That's what they're doing right now. But can you wiggle out of trouble, and can you eat up outs with strikeouts? Evans has been a strikeout guy. Moore has had a couple of outings this year where he's gotten a lot of strikeouts. He does throw a sinker. Hopefully you keep that in the yard. Schmidt is a big strikeout guy. Sheeran, big strikeout guy. Can you get strikeouts when you need them against this Vanderbilt team? Vanderbilt's not moving the baseball a lot. They're hitting for a low average. They're striking out a lot, and they're hitting a lot of homers. You've got to do that. Now, I'm going to jinx this, and y'all can tweet at me tonight. I will own it. I'm putting it out there. I'm owning it. And this will be a jinx. Just so you know, I'm aware of it. But it is my information to bring you something that might be interesting, and I find this to be interesting. So I'm going to tell you with the understanding I'm jinxing everything. Kason Evans has not allowed a home run as an LSU Tiger. 2 years, no homers allowed. I didn't even know that until this morning. And Vanderbilt has a ton of homers. And also, Vanderbilt brought the fences in on their ballpark this year. So is it still a jinx if I say it out loud, tell you it's a jinx, make a big deal about it? Is it still a jinx? We'll see. But I found that interesting. I wanted to tell you, so you might think that's interesting. But Evans has not given up a home run as an LSU Tiger. If he does it tonight, LSU is going to be in really good shape. Last key stat here. We'll talk to Andrew Allegretta about the whole thing coming up in 20 minutes. Last key stat. Walks. Vanderbilt has issued the second most walks in the Southeastern Conference, and we know that walks have been a big problem for LSU. Not so much with Moore, not so much with Schmidt, not any at all with Guidry, but Plog has had trouble throwing strikes. Sheeran had one outing where he struggled to throw strikes. Evans has had 2 outings where he fell behind or walked too many guys. Maverick Rizzi has had trouble throwing strikes at times. Free bases are a nightmare with a team that hits a bunch of homers. Now, if you give the free bases, hopefully you can get the strikeouts to get out of it. But the worst thing you can do is put 2 guys on, and then third guy hits 1 out. That is what Vanderbilt is doing right now. I don't know if that will last all season. It hasn't been their MO for a few years under this system. But you can't walk people. And I've got this statistic with LSU because Vanderbilt's had trouble as a pitching staff with walks as well. And this doesn't sound like a big deal, and maybe it's not, but I'll give you the stats. Through 9 games, LSU was averaging 7 walks per game. And they were scoring about 12 runs a game with those 7 walks. The last 9 games, they've averaged under 5 walks per game. It's like 4.7, which is only 2.5 walks. Doesn't seem like that big a deal, but it is 2 extra base runners. And LSU's not hitting the ball as well, so they're averaging half of what they were. They're closer to 5 runs per game over those 9. Walks are a big deal. Vandy's relied on them. LSU has been better when they're walking a lot. You heard the 2 coaches in Jacksonville, Notre Dame's coach and Indiana's coach, talk about how LSU was so disciplined with their approach and they were taking so many walks, and that was why it was so tough to pitch to them. That's when LSU's been at their best. Now, Vanderbilt, from a pitching perspective, has issued the second most walks in the conference. Walks could be a big deal this weekend in Nashville. Tonight, 6 o'clock. Tomorrow, on Saturday, a 7 o'clock start in Nashville. And then on Sunday, a late 3 o'clock start. Incidentally, that cold front that blew through here last night, I guess is kind of rolling through Nashville this weekend at some point. The high on Monday in Nashville is 40. But the high on Sunday is like 77. So LSU is going to play these 3 games, get the heck out of town, and let them deal with some cold weather early next week. Shouldn't be an issue weather-wise this weekend in Nashville. I always consider that when LSU goes north in the first 2 or 3 weeks of the SEC schedule. If you go to Fayetteville, if you go to Columbia, Missouri, if you go to Norman, of course, LSU got caught in frigid conditions in Norman's last year. If you go up to Lexington or Knoxville, like early March can be chilly. Not this weekend in Nashville. So that's a look at Vanderbilt. Some keys for me over the weekend for LSU and the Doors. We'll talk to Andrew Allegretta about it in 15 minutes. Our Friday show's brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Did I just say fish and chips?
No, you said shrimp. They got fish and chips there.
They do have fish and chips, but they just wouldn't broadcast it like that because it's South Louisa restaurant. It'd just be fish and French fries. They have that all. They have the catfish. They have the jumbo Gulf shrimp. They've got your coleslaw, honey butter rolls. Great Lenten stop for you on this Friday. So if you're abstaining from meat on this Lenten Friday, get on by Corks and grab a fried shrimp platter, fried catfish platter. Big old po' boy. They got those as well. Take a time out. Preston Guy next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Marucci. Go take a campus tour at Marucci. Awesome spot for you. Right here in the capital city of Baton Rouge. In 2004, a couple of former big leaguers and their trainers said, let's make some bats. So they made some bats, and the bats were good. So they gave the bats to people that know how to use the bats, and the people that know how to use the bats said, these are good. And they kept making the bats, and all of a sudden, 22 years later, they're the official bat of Major League Baseball. The best players in the world use Marucci bats, and they make them right here in Baton Rouge. They make $1,200 a day. Why not go check that out? Why not go see how they make these bats, how they've crafted the best in the world, and why not go learn about one of the coolest stories in our city? Marucci. Go take a tour, maruccisports.com/campus-tour. Every single ticket that you buy comes with a 20% discount in the Campus Tour store as well as the Hitter's House. Take a youth baseball team, take a youth softball team, take your kids, go yourself. Check out Marucci. You can get a ticket at maruccisports.com.
The Cane's Box Combo, a symphony of flavors. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Lockmeyer, Deshawn, Fagan & Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lockmeyer, Deshawn, Fagan & Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient. And the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Friday shows brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. We'll talk LSU-Vanderbilt baseball with Andrew Allegretta, the voice of the Commodores, coming up in 12 minutes. Right now, Preston Guy, TigerBait.com, joins us to talk some LSU football. Preston, how are you?
Fine. How's it going? No elephants in the room to talk about today, huh?
Well, we'll bring something up. How about lawsuits? You want to talk legal?
No, I don't. I'll just say I am no lawyer, no legal expert. This does seem to have some very serious implications, including, where money is going to be coming from for, LSU athletics and exactly what players are getting how much money. We'll have to see how much of that unfolds. But, I tend to let this kind of stuff go to the legal experts and legal reporters. I cover a football team. If you want to know how the quarterback looks in practice, that seems to be what I look at. But we did put up a column today from a lawyer, Kenneth P. Haynes. He's has a nice blog, and he seems to believe it's more of a open and shut case. Like LSU is going to have to give out the information, and it's going to have some pretty serious implications. That seems to be his thought.
Well, I won't ask you legal questions then. I'll just ask you if Kenneth Haynes is correct and LSU needs to open the books and let everyone know who's getting what from that $20.5 million in revenue sharing. Like, what does that mean?
Well, I don't know if he's correct or not. He certainly has a lot more legal expertise than I do. I mean, I did a little bit of Louisiana Sunshine and Freedom of Information Act in journalism school. I don't audit, Senate records and stuff like that. So my guess is that with all his legal training and all the cases he cited, it is probably accurate. And I would say the ramifications are that it may put LSU at a competitive disadvantage, being that this information will be public for LSU, but no one else, or at least for the foreseeable future. I would argue the action is, if this does come to light, well, you got to do this for everybody else as well. You got to start making sure, okay, well, all the other teams, Ole Miss, Ohio State, all these teams around the country are also having to put this information out there, because this kind of information is very public in the NFL, but it's not a big deal because, well, all 32 teams are subject to the same transparency. But it would be competitively disadvantageous for LSU if it had to hold itself to a full standard of transparency while no one else did. And I think that's where a lot of angst from LSU fans comes, because LSU is the only school getting sued right now. And frankly, every other school in the state has cited similar laws and tried to discredit this as well. But none of them got sued because, well, it's kind of like picking on, the big guy at the table. It's like, well, LSU's the one who's going to attract the most attention, so we're going to go after LSU first, and that just doesn't sit as fair to LSU fans. But that's pretty much the extent of my understanding. I don't know exactly where this is going to go.
Well, let's keep working off that hypothetical then. Like, if LSU has to reveal who they're paying what, would you, as someone who covers the team, enjoy analyzing where they've allocated what resources?
I mean, it might be enjoyable, but I don't know that the enjoyable part would necessarily, justify the ramifications of that. There's just a lot of other teams can use that against LSU, and say, hey, look, man, you're only making X, Y, and Z. I'm also curious as to, how full of the picture is this? Is this going to be just revenue sharing dollars, or is it going to be NIL money too? Right? Like, is the Bayou Traditions Collective, is that considered part of this? I guess it's not, but that at least gives you some, out there, like, okay, well, that's just the revenue sharing. If you look at the NIL stuff, it paints a completely different picture. So certainly I would be curious. It would be nice to know, like, oh, man, I guess the going rate for a quarterback is, XYZ million or XYZ 100,000 or whatever else. But even so, you're still not probably getting the full picture. So I don't know that I even get to scratch that itch of my curiosity.
That's my point. It's like, this is all well and good if you think that needs to be transparent, that they need to divulge tax dollars. But this is half the picture, because you're talking about sponsorship dollars. I mean, LSU's got a big partnership with Nike. Yeah. That Derek Curiel and, that Tradez Green and Deadon Thomas, and they're all getting money from Nike that's not going to be auditable. So what good is a picture if it's half the picture? Is kind of my. It's not going to give us the information that you're kind of looking for unless you. And secondly, if you're talking about a misappropriation of funds potentially, which I would imagine is one of the reasons you might look into this to see if there's some sort of impropriety. Well, you already know that it's $20.5 million, and then it's going. So who cares what part goes to the defensive end and what part goes to the women's basketball shooting guard? That's just the money's going to student athletes.
Yeah, and certainly for an institution like LSU, you would hope that the accounting is certain clean enough. I mean, they make $20.5 million a year. They make 10 times that, right? So ideally, the accounting is clean enough across the board, and LSU, is doing good. But I just don't even know where to begin in speculating where funds are coming from. Man, this is many degrees above my pay level.
It's March. That's kind of where college football is. It's not. There's no. Some people aren't practicing yet, a la LSU, and we're a long way away from games. So talking season kind of takes to another turn. But spring practice is coming up fairly shortly. I'm curious your interest in LSU's two quarterbacks that will be able to participate fully in spring practice, and how important this is for them.
Yeah, well, the biggest question is how much of that itch are you going to get to scratch? How much access are we really going to get to see them, right? And that's not just media, but fans as well. Are they even going to get an open practice? I don't think they've made any availability known to the public quite yet. Assuming a world where we do get to see them at all, I'm highly interested in those two. Number one, Landon Clark is a big X factor. I mean, Landon Clark's a guy who's got high top end, a very strong arm, a lot of potential. How is he going to do in a Lane Kiffin offense? The assumption is that a highly touted five-star guy like Hassan Longstreet, who, by the way, in his 4 games at USC, played very well last year, would be the second stringer. But then you have to question, okay, are one of these two guys going to be ready? I think there's a lot. If you had to assume any one of these 3 guys on roster are your starting quarterback like next year, there's reason to believe that's going to go pretty well, right? But I just want to see it from these 2 guys because, your big money quarterback, Sam Levitt, he is coming off a lens fracture in his foot. How well is he going to recover? Then there's also questions about, okay, well, when he traveled out west last time and played at Mississippi State, he pretty much had a stinker performance, right? Is he actually as good as he needs to be against the SEC grind, or was he just good in a Big 12 situation? We have seen guys come from the Big 12 and put up huge seasons, a la Jonathan Giles, and then they just couldn't cut it in the SEC, and that's just how life is sometimes, so you have to put those out there. So what we're going to see in spring is your insurance policy, right? Last year, LSU had all its eggs in the Garrett Nussmeier basket, and it seems like a pretty solid basket. I mean, we're talking about college football's leading returning passer with 4,000 passing yards. Well, it turns out, injury, mystery situation, he wasn't ready to go, and they needed an insurance policy, and Michael Van Buren did not pan out to be that. He wasn't much better than the, Kurt Garrett Nussmeier out there. So that is what we're looking to avoid here is, between these 3 guys, you got to get one really good signal caller on the field.
We'll see how much access we are granted here when LSU cranks things up in a couple of weeks. Preston, have a great weekend. We appreciate the time.
All right, talk to you soon.
Preston Guy, TigerBait.com with us on Fridays. I want to remind you about Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Been open since October 1st under brand new ownership there on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Stop on by. I tell you all the time about the new vehicles that they have there, but they also have a large selection of pre-owned vehicles as well. So if you want to check out the inventory, you can look through it by category at FabryChevrolet.com. Every car that is on the lot there on Highway 61 in St. Francisville is online at FabryChevrolet.com. So make the short drive from Baton Rouge, make the short drive from New Roads or Ventress over there in Point Capee, over there from Livonia. You can come on down from southern Mississippi as well, as they're right there on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. New vehicles, $11,000 off Silverados, $13,000 off of GMC Sierras, all with phenomenal APR financing. On the Silverados, you're talking 1.9%, 0.0 on the GMC Sierras. Get on by and see them. Check out the website at FabryChevrolet.com. That's FabryChevrolet.com. All right, that's an interesting kind of first look into the LSU lawsuit. I gave my very, very preliminary thoughts on it yesterday as it was just breaking while I was literally on the air, which was difficult. I've now been able to read Todd Horn on Tiger Rag, listen to Piper Hutchinson when she had a discussion. We'll hear from Todd Horn coming up at 2 o'clock, who is one of the plaintiffs. He works for Tiger Rag and is part of that. I've seen Chris Takamoto's story on it from WAFB. So I've got a little bit a better handle on it now than I did when it broke on the show yesterday. I'm going to let Todd Horn give his part of it at 2 o'clock and kind of see where he's coming from there. And I have my thoughts that we may get into in the second hour. Still got a little bit more LSU and Vanderbilt to come here in a couple minutes with Andrew Allegretta from the Vanderbilt Commodores Radio Network. Got to get you set for LSU, the SEC baseball slate, and Travis Etienne. Well, was with the media earlier today, and he's happy to be home, to say the very least. So we'll talk a little bit about that here coming up. When we come back, as I mentioned, Andrew Allegretta, he'll be on the call for the Vanderbilt Sports Radio Network tonight for LSU and Vanderbilt, all weekend for LSU and Vanderbilt. We'll talk with him next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
GoTro's Outdoor Power. GoTro's Outdoor Power. Spring is here. Time to cut that grass. There have been clovers kind of popping up over the last couple of weeks, but that grass is really going to start growing as the weather warms up. If it's time to get a new mower, a zero turn, GoTro's Outdoor Power. It's a family-owned and operated business. Absolutely. Been in business 22 years. The GoTro family's got a location in Gonzales, got a big old location there on Airline Highway in Baton Rouge. But locally owned and operated does not mean small by a long shot. Largest parts inventory in Louisiana, largest Hustler inventory in the state by a long shot. So if you're looking for a Hustler zero-turn mower, you'd like to get behind the wheel for $100 or less, they can get a financing opportunity in front of you, and they can deliver that mower right to your front door. They got trucks running 8 hours a day. That's the difference when you go with a local company. They've got customer service that's just going to beat the big box stores. So if you're looking for a new zero-turn mower, looking for something to mow your property, you want to go with GoTro's Outdoor Power. Check them out online at GoTrosOnline.com. They're open Monday through Saturday, a half-day Saturday, but open Monday through Saturday. 2 locations, Baton Rouge and Gonzales. It's GoTro's Outdoor Power.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. We are honored and humbled to receive from our clients in Google, based on 5-star client reviews, the designation of our law firm is highly recommended. Whether you hire us at all, please give us a call, 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we know this, and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
Most roofers just replace your shingles. At Pelican, we diagnose your roof, digging deep down to find the root cause of your roof symptoms. Now cough for me? Good. We don't ignore your roof's issues, we address them. Let's just take care of this right here. Helping your roof to become the best version of itself. Interesting that you would say that. How does that make you feel? So call Pelican Roofing for your free roof checkup today.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
Friday shows are brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Check out the menu, corksfishandshrimp.com, corksfishandshrimp.com. Been a long basketball season here in Baton Rouge. Now, SEC baseball finally upon us. LSU will head up to Nashville, take on the Vanderbilt Commodores. Andrew Allegretta is the voice of Vanderbilt football and baseball. Good enough to give us a little bit of time before he hits the airwaves this evening. Andrew, thanks for that time. How are you?
What's going on? How are you guys?
Doing quite well. Could you describe the difference in the Vanderbilt athletic scene today as opposed to 3, 4, 5 years ago in terms of what football, basketball have kind of become?
Are you guys prepared to ask me one question and one question only?
You got to let's not go 15 minutes on it, but if you've got like two, that'd be good.
I don't know. It's obviously it's very, very different. I just think back to the first couple of games for Clark that were very, very difficult, where no one necessarily came to the games. The stadium was what it was. And then we started to rip down the stadium. And, certainly everything changed. The games versus Kentucky versus Auburn versus LSU this year had electric atmospheres. I recognize the fact that we're not jamming 80,000 people into our stadium. We don't need that. But we get 30 to 35 very engaged fans. And yes, some of them are still Auburn fans, whatever. That's very Nashville. Go talk to the Titans, go talk to the Preds. I think for all of us that work at Vanderbilt, I think the thing that probably changes the most is just what you engage with in the community. Like if you take your kids to school, you'll see kids wearing Vanderbilt stuff when you didn't see that 3, 4, 5 years ago. Or people are going to talk to you about Vanderbilt in the grocery store, whatever it is. All of that sort of stuff, that community engagement stuff, which, quite frankly, I'll tell you this. We had the bowl game in Tampa this past year. They did an alumni event at a brewery the night before, and it was packed. Like the capacity was supposed to be 500 people. We probably had 700 or 800 people. The Chancellor forever talked about wanting to make Vanderbilt athletics kind of a catalyst for the Vanderbilt community. And I think that part has genuinely happened in this city.
It's very, very cool to kind of see the way things have shifted. Let's talk about this baseball team specifically. Major hat tip from me, college baseball fan, to Tim Corbin for going to Arlington and going to Vegas. I know it didn't go great, but I appreciate early season baseball that has a little bit of consequence. But because of that, 11-7 is the record to this point. What have you seen from this team that has led to an 11-7 record? Maybe on the negative side, I've got the positives here coming, but obviously 7 losses to this point is not something Vanderbilt's generally going to look at.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think if you talk to the coaches, they're going to be focused on the things that are going wrong, the things that are going right. Like, you'll try to continue doing that. But I think number one, and it's going to sound like an excuse, but injuries are a factor. Our Saturday guy got pulled from his, I guess, third start of the season versus Oregon after one inning. Like, he had the potential, not this year, but next year, to be a first-round, second-round draft pick. He might still be, but all of a sudden he's been out. You've got a catcher that hit 3 home runs on opening day and was poised to, like, maybe set the Vanderbilt single-season home run record. Well, he bust up his shoulder a little bit in an on-conference game, and we've not seen him for almost a month at this point. And then there's kind of a long list. Like if you go check out our entry report on the SEC, you're going to see, I think, 4 or 5 pitchers listed. Like there's just some serious erosion of arms. And like that happens to everybody. Like Texas A&M got walloped last year, like with Gavin Grahovic and Caden Surratt. Like it happens to people. So we're not special because of it. But I do think that's been a big part of it. And the other piece of it, to be quite frank, is even though the team has provided a lot more offensive punch this year, overall, in like a landscape of college athletics that tends to be more veteran, guys that have stacked 400 at-bats at the collegiate level, we're still a fairly young team. And that just is what it is. Like our starting first baseman, I think, tonight is Chris Maldonado. He's a senior, but he missed each of the past 2 years with a shoulder injury. So he's effectively a sophomore. And you can kind of go down the list. like that. Brody Johnston, incredible. He could be a first-round MLB draft pick, but he's a sophomore, so he hasn't logged the same number of at-bats. So I think injuries and inexperience are kind of causing a bit of a roller coaster effect.
You mentioned Austin Nye, who is the Saturday starter you're alluding to, and I watched some tape of him, and it's absolutely electric. He's questionable in the report. Would you be surprised to see him this weekend?
I would.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. We'll see what happens. If it strikes me as a type of pitcher, and baseball injuries are just so fragile, right? Like, they're so fragile. You pull a hamstring and you're done for 3 months. If you were hoping in some universe to get him back for April or May, I don't know why you would flirt with disaster in March. And I think that's what's going on with Colin Barzey, the catcher that hit 3 home runs on opening day too. There's a lot of guys on that injury report that I think have the potential to come back and make a really big impact on this team. And this is a really big weekend. You can't flirt with SEC weekends. I mean, there's 30 games. You fall behind the 8 ball, you're trying to sweep SEC series in April and May. That's a real bear. But having said that, you're not going to risk somebody's long-term in February or March. I don't think the time to push it is yet. But that's just me. I don't know. If he comes out of the bullpen at some point, perhaps they'll prove me wrong.
Yeah, look, Jay Johnson said on Monday that Chris Stanfield was 10 to 14 days out from playing, and he played the next night. So you just never know with injury reports and coaches who kind of do their own thing on that perspective. Let's talk about Connor Fennell. He's a known. To me, he doesn't look like David Price or Walker Buehler or Tyler Beatty or Kumar Rocker, but his numbers are really good, and I like to watch highlights of him because he's a little bit quirky. What can you tell us about the Vanderbilt ace?
Perhaps an oversimplification, but to some extent, he's the baseball version of Diego Pavia.
Okay.
He's got a perceived deficit, right? Diego's too small, but he goes out there and wins based on intelligence and guts and just pure competitiveness. Fennell's got the perceived lack of velocity, but he goes out there and wins because he's got some real unique, if you want to get into the weeds, baseball outlier stuff, his extension on his release point is a lot closer to home plate than a lot of other pitchers. So his fastball at 89 looks like 94, that sort of stuff. But really, more than anything, someone had a quote in a piece by The Athletic earlier this month where they said when he's on the mound, Connor Fennell flat out hates hitters. And I think that's true. Diego Pavia just is I'm gonna beat you because I'm more competitive than you. And Fennell, despite his perceived deficit of velocity, says I don't care. My fastball, to me, it doesn't say 89. To me, it says 98, and I'm going to just shove it right past you. So his competitiveness is on par with any pitcher that I have seen come through Vanderbilt, which is a big deal. Now, does he have the same velocity and stuff as Rocker and Beatty and Buehler and all the other guys that you listed? Obviously not. But the tenacity is right there with anybody.
I searched his name on Twitter and saw that video from the SEC tournament where he's rocking in the windup and the hitter steps out and he just never stops. He just stares the hitter down for the entire step out and then threw it by him. It's a thing of beauty.
He's so good. And again, if you want to get into the baseball weeds, there was a slight change in the mechanics this year of when a hitter has to be ready and when a pitcher can throw, right? It's at 8 seconds on the pitch clock. But it used to be that as long as both people made eye contact, the pitcher could throw. Well, Fennell was throwing too fast for people, so everybody got together because of Fennell this past offseason, and the rule is now eye contact and hands back ready to hit by your helmet or wherever you put your hand. It's because of Fennell. It's because of what you're talking about at the SEC tournament. He had that sort of impact on the game of college baseball last year.
Let's talk about the offense. Statistically, I'm seeing a lot of power where there hasn't been in the last couple of years, and I'm seeing some strikeouts and walks. What do you make of this Vanderbilt offense as a whole?
I would tell you that it's going to be interesting to see what we see this weekend because they have been very dependent on the home run. They're second in the country. That's a big deal for them. They've got guys that can leave the yard at any particular moment with Holcomb and Johnston, even with Barzey out, with Mike Mancini, a guy that hit a couple of home runs this past weekend. And, they got a ton of guys that can do that. But Coach Corbin, I think, got a little bit frustrated with the boom or bust nature of the offense in the first couple of weeks. In that trip to Vegas you were alluding to, I think they were 1 for 35 with runners in scoring position, which is not going to win SEC games. So this past week, when we played Indiana State, it was a mix of both. Like, there was an aggressiveness to our stolen base tactics. Mike Mancini, who bats, third, fourth, fifth, laid down a bunt for us. Like, we scored a run on a sacrifice fly. He got a little bit more back into his bag. So I think he's trying to figure out with this offense how to let them be powerful while at the same time not missing opportunities. So I think we're going to see an offense that isn't exactly like it was the first month of the season. Not to say they're not going to hit home runs. They will hit some this weekend, and it will still be a major factor. But just because there's runners at first and second with nobody out, we're not going to sit back and wait for a 3-run home run.
Two very, very proud programs, two legendary head coaches, Jay Johnson with 2 national championships and an appearance in the final. Tim Corbin, 2 national championships, 2 other appearances in the final. It should be an awesome weekend up there in Nashville. Have some great calls. Enjoy the baseball, Andrew, and we appreciate some time.
Hey, thank you guys as always. I appreciate it.
Andrew Allegretta, the voice of the Vanderbilt Commodores on the football and baseball side. He'll be on the call from the Hawk the last these 3 days over the weekend in Nashville. We'll come back, close out the hour next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Look, if your power goes out, it's a drag. Because a lot of times when the power goes out in this part of the world, it's in the summer when those storms blow through in the afternoons, or worse, there's a hurricane, and it's like 98 outside, and all of a sudden your house is 98. That's not a great place to be. You don't have to be there. You can get a Generac home standby generator from the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical. You can get one from a lot of different places, a lot of big box stores. But if you want the local company with the great customer service that's going to install your generator properly, be there to monitor your generator, be there to do maintenance on your generator, to take care of you as a prized customer, that's where you go to Boudreaux's Electrical, because Neil and Melissa have been running it that way for 40 years. Not the big box stores, not the private equity that's bought in, the local company here at Boudreaux's Electrical. Get that Generac home standby generator installed before the summer months come here. It's 985-397-1562, 985-397-1562, or the Gonzales location, 225-300-9389. You can do it the easy way if you want to do that, boudreauxelectrical.com, boudreauxelectrical.com.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we know each case and client are unique, and that no 2 cases are the same. But one thing remains constant, and that is our passion to help our clients. After an accident, we know your life has changed, which is why we passionately fight to make you and your family whole. Remember, whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. We're here to serve you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona, inviting you to join us this Wednesday for AFR from Marucci's Hitter's House on Segan Lane in Baton Rouge. Come take some hacks in the cages with the best bats in the world, the official bat of Major League Baseball. It's at Marucci's Hitter's House in Baton Rouge.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online, or text or call for free, confidential help now.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, Ice Cubes.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Closing out hour number 1, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Let me remind you about my friends at First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust started up in 1910, still cranking 116 years later. They've grown to 25 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana. If you're looking for a commercial loan, maybe you're looking for a new commercial property and need financing for that, First American Bank and Trust should be your first call. Why? Because the decision that is going to leave that in the hands of your business is going to be made by someone who is right here in Southeast Louisiana, not a call center in Atlanta, not a conference room in Sacramento, right here in South Louisiana, because that's where they make all their decisions. All the people that work here at First American Bank and Trust are from Southeast Louisiana. The management at their bank averages 25 years. These are people you go to church with, people that you see at the Little League field, people you see at the park, their kids go to school together. That's the kind of people that make up First American Bank and Trust. That doesn't make them, because they're a community bank, doesn't make them a mom and pop shop. Far from it. Talking about 25 locations. They can handle your commercial lending needs. It's First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust. A little bit short for time here at the end of the hour. So I want to just kind of set the table for what we're going to do in our next segment, because I'm looking forward to it. I want to learn more. I feel like, and I said this yesterday on my show, I feel like I don't have all the information here in regards to this lawsuit that 3 media members are filing against LSU. And I do find it to be extremely significant to LSU based on what I know. I'm trying to learn more. For those that are new to this, which I don't think is going to be many of you, Piper Hutchison from The Illuminator, Chris Nakamoto from WAFB, and Todd Horn from Tiger Rag have filed suit against LSU, declaring that they need to turn over the information as to how they're compensating their student athletes in terms of the revenue sharing. It's a public university. There are public funds involved. They need to explain to the taxpayers, who obviously help fund the school, how they're paying student athletes. And LSU has declined that. And because it has been declined, their course of action is to file suit. And I'm just curious why. I told you yesterday, and I still believe this very firmly, and this is tough for LSU fans to jump on board with. And I'm sitting here in an LSU shirt and an LSU hat. I'm one of you. I also went to journalism school. Journalists' job is to ask questions. Every question doesn't have to have an answer coming back that is indicting or nefarious or indicates some sort of malfeasance. Like, that's not what every question, but the question just can be asked. And if the answer is reasonable, you move on to the next question. Not everything that Chris Nakamoto or Piper Hutchison looks at in terms of their political reporting or reporting in South Louisiana, not everything they ask about turns into a big story. Sometimes you get an acceptable answer and you just move on to the next. They don't have like games like we do where I know what I'm covering next. It's LSU-Vanderbilt tonight. They're playing no matter what. And like, they just look for stories. And if there's no story, then there's no story. And they could have filed the Freedom of Information request and gotten the answers and said, oh, this is all good. And then they'd gone on to the next one. But they didn't get the answers. So now they're asking for more. And my question is kind of why. My view of this is that we know that LSU is paying its student athletes $20.5 million this school year. I don't care about how much Garrett Nussmeier got, how much Flau'jae Johnson got, and how much Derek Curiel got. I don't care. And I don't really know why the taxpayer cares as long as they know how much it is. How it's allocated, as long as it's legal, I'm not really interested, but they are. And the feeling from LSU is if we tell how much each player's making, we open ourselves up to tampering and players being poached from our rosters. And I understand LSU's thoughts about that. This is the wild, wild west in college athletics. And LSU, to keep their competitive advantage, would like to keep that secret. The other piece of this puzzle is even if you get the $20.5 million and the information as to how it's allocated to each student athlete, so they're not employees, student athletes, if you get that information, you're not including the NIL piece, which they're not trying to. They're very upfront about that. But that's a huge part of compensation. Huge part. Nike's involved. Canes is involved. A lot of corporate partners are involved. Our Lady Lake Health is like, there's a lot of folks involved in this. And so you don't get the full picture, even if you are granted this. I don't know where the gray area is with the self-sufficient revenue, where LSU makes a bunch of money from television contents and contracts and ticket sales and merchandise sales and that whole deal. And that's the money they turn around and give back. But the school takes taxpayer money and the athletics is part of the school. Like, I don't know where that gray area is. And I guess Todd can maybe help me out with that. As far as I'm concerned, I'm just curious as to what the end game is, what they're trying to find out. My sincere thought on this, and I've got 50 seconds before we get to Todd, is I think that based on what attorneys have said, that LSU will have to turn this information over. I don't believe there will be anything at all to indict LSU on from a journalistic perspective, and that they'll move on having gotten the information, and LSU will be at a competitive disadvantage with all the schools who haven't had to disclose that. Is that kind of worth it? That's for the journalists to figure out. We'll talk to Todd Horn about it. We're going to pause for National Headlines at SportsCenter. And at 2 o'clock, so 5 minutes from right now, Todd Horn, who's a plaintiff in this lawsuit with Tiger Rag and suing LSU, is going to give his side of the story. I'm excited to hear about it. We'll do that after this on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com, HighlandIG.com. Jonathan Carbo and his team, phenomenal folks to work with in the insurance game. You should trust your insurance broker. I know that a lot of business owners, because I was in that space for 7 years, a lot of business owners will just go to the guy who's able to save the most money for his or her business. I understand that. I played that game. My view on this, and certainly it is of the Highland Insurance Group as well, is that you should trust your insurance broker like you trust your accountant, like your CPA. You should trust them like you trust your attorney, because they're part of the operation. The Highland Insurance Group aims to make sure that your business is taken care of from a coverage perspective. Certainly, they will consider premium. They're an independent broker. They can shop and get multiple quotes for your lines of coverage, no matter what line of work you're in. And they're going to take care of that, and they're going to make sure that you are taken care of from a coverage perspective. You don't know when the car accident's coming. We got a phishing email company-wide today. Take care of yourself from an insurance perspective with the Highland Insurance Group.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us this Wednesday for AFR from Marucci's Hitter's House on Segan Lane in Baton Rouge. Come take some hacks in the cages with the best bats in the world, the official bat of Major League Baseball. It's at Marucci's Hitter's House in Baton Rouge.
I'm lawyer Collins Locke Meredith. Among the most important factors to consider when you're hiring an injury attorney is trust. You trust your attorney will put your interest first, treat you with respect, fairness, and honesty. You trust them to be there for you when you need them. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, thousands of clients have trusted us to represent them, and for good reasons. Please visit us at LockeMeredith.com to learn more, and whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm John Ryder. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports that the Titans are releasing cornerback L'Jarius Sneed. It's a move that will save Tennessee $11.4 million in cap space. 49ers have agreed on a 2-year, $5.4 million deal to bring back Pro Bowl special teams player Luke Gifford. Legendary Wilt Chamberlain owns one less NBA record as reigning MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander broke his record by scoring 20 points or more in 127 straight regular season games. SGA on how he's been able to maintain the streak.
Yeah, over the years, I've just built my game, seen defenses, and I just attack the defenses with the tools I have. I like to think it feels like at least each year I get better and better at doing so. And I think that's the reason. I just see coverages, learn from them, try to get better, and apply them when I can.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander reached the milestone with 35 points in a win over the Celtics last night. Cincinnati has fired head college basketball coach Wes Miller after 5 seasons, reports ESPN's Jeff Borzello and Pete Thamel.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Canty, coming up Monday. From the NBA to the NCAA tournament, I'll react to it all in my Upon Further Review at 7 a.m. Eastern. It's Unsportsmanlike weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, working towards the weekend. We are just about there. If you are too, we'll get you to the finish line. If your workday is done, cheers. Our Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. It's Lit and Friday. Get on by Corks. Get you one of those seafood po' boys. They are A+. A big weekend of SEC baseball. We'll talk about it a little bit later on in the hour. Travis Etienne went with the New Orleans media earlier today, one of the newest Saints, and it was a really cool press conference, really cool story. So we'll hear from Travis coming up later on in the hour as well. But yesterday, while we were on the air, news broke that 3 media members are filing suit against LSU. It's Piper Hutchinson of The Illuminator, it is Chris Nakamoto of WAFB, and Todd Horn of Tiger Rag Magazine, in an effort to have LSU open its books and reveal how they are compensating student athletes with taxpayer money. I told you yesterday on the air that as it was breaking, like, this is the first I've seen of it, so I need to find out more information. And I did that over the last 24 hours. I have heard from Piper Hutchinson. I watched Chris Nakamoto's piece on WAFB, and now get the opportunity to chat with Todd Horn, the other plaintiff in this case. He is, of course, the executive editor of Tiger Rag Magazine. Good enough to give us a little bit of time here on this Friday. Todd, thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you?
Doing quite well. So what I've gathered from listening to Piper is that she filed a Freedom of Information request in September that was denied by LSU, and that kind of started this process that we've gotten to here in mid-March. I'm curious what your timeline was like here and what your involvement is to this point as we have reached the point where you all have filed suit against LSU.
Sure. So you may or may not be aware that every year Tiger Rag Magazine puts out a financial issue. We call it the money issue, and it's where we break down previous year's, fiscal year's budget, and analyze different salaries and things that are going on. And because last football season was the first football season that involved NIL payment. I mean, not NIL payment. Well, NIL payments had already existed, but revenue sharing payments. As I was putting that together I think it was November, I started working on it. I put in a Freedom of Information request in January, early January, seeking the revenue share information. And I got rejected. And when I looked at it, I looked at the reasons. It's the way I do things. And I said, well, that doesn't really jive. It doesn't make sense why I was rejected. But whatever. So a few weeks later, Piper, who does do some work with Tiger Rag through our partnership with the Louisiana Illuminator, said, well, why don't you call Scott Sternberg about this? And so I did. And next thing I know, I found out that myself and Piper and then Chris Nakamoto were all in agreement that this needed to be clarified. And that's what this lawsuit is really about. It's a public records lawsuit seeking clarification, which is not bad for LSU. It's not against LSU sports, LSU football, none of that. It's strictly to get a clarification on if public money spent by LSU to student athletes for revenue share only deserves to be shielded under Louisiana public records law. That's it. And LSU needs that clarification. LSU needs it badly. Alabama's already gotten it. Florida's already gotten it. Minnesota's already gotten it. South Carolina, Texas A&M. Actually, South Carolina hasn't gotten it. They're still involved in a suit. Clemson and Washington have all been decided.
I have not heard that, so that's new information for me. When you say that they've got it, you are suggesting that the money that the athletic departments for those universities you mentioned that has been distributed to student athletes has been clarified based on individual student athletes. That information is available?
No, actually, I'm saying the opposite, and I apologize.
Okay, yeah.
I'm saying that Alabama denied the public request. All of them did, except for South Carolina, which is still in process.
Okay.
And the reason they denied it is primarily because of the trade secrets or competitive disadvantage rule.
Okay, so we're on the same page there. Understood. So people have gotten requests. All these universities said, no, we don't want people to know that. And so that's where this stands. So LSU is not unique in that perspective.
Well, the universities started the process just like ours.
Mm-hmm.
And then the courts in those states, I didn't hear you. You cut out.
No, continue. I don't think I said anything there. The courts in those states said.
The courts in those states said, well, in Alabama, they denied it because they said they don't have any documentation for it, basically, and I may be tearing that up because I'm not a lawyer. But Florida denied it, saying it's very clear, and this is the most important one, it's very clear under their state law that is an exception, does not warrant public records requests. So that's the most important one, is that they clarified their law. The biggest problem, Hunt, is that there's 50 different states that are governing college football right now, and that in and of itself is a potential, if not real, competitive disadvantage already.
Okay, now this is the part that I kind of want to drill down on. This is what I want to understand y'all's perspective a little better. Everyone was allowed a maximum of $20.5 million in revenue sharing for this school year. The reporting that has been out there, and this is, I know that Tennessee did it this way, and I'm under the impression LSU did as well, is that 75% or $13.5 million went to football, 15% went to men's basketball, 5% went to women's basketball, and 5% went to everybody else. That was in line with the NCAA's settlement that was back paying players that they were ruled to have deprived from NIL money. So LSU did it that way, to my understanding. Y'all are interested in the individual athletes, is that correct?
Okay, so when you say y'all, I understand that, okay?
Mm-hmm.
There's three different journalists or individuals, myself, Piper Hutchinson, and Chris Nakamoto on this, and we're all represented by the same attorney. The unifying thing between us is that we were all denied and we think the rules are weak.
Okay.
They need to be clarified because these are transparency laws that could open LSU up to a huge disadvantage, in my opinion. You know, people have asked, what's your motive? Are you trying to seek attention? Are you trying to draw things to you? Are you looking for clickbait? Are you whatever? Are you looking to scandalize LSU? I went to LSU. I started going to games when I was 5 years old. I actually played football there for 1 year. I graduated from there. I've covered games. I moved to California for 28 years. I watched every single game I could possibly watch across all sports anytime I could. I moved back in 2022 to Louisiana and decided to take this job because it was like coming home, and this is right in my bailiwick. I have no desire for LSU to do anything other than win. And my motive, I can't speak to what Piper's motive is. I can't speak to what Chris Nakamoto's motives are. I don't even know Chris Nakamoto. I've talked to him on Tiger Rag Radio as a guest before. I've never met him in person. I've never even talked to him other than that. My motive, the only one I can speak to, is to clarify this law so that LSU is better protected in this totally fragmented, chaotic college football and college sports world that we're in right now.
So I'm clear, the motivation is for LSU to disclose what?
Well, the weakness is only within what we requested, and that is there's no exception listed for the public records law in the state of Louisiana, but LSU citing FERPA, competitive disadvantage, and NIL privacy laws. I personally, from my structural thinking background, think that that is weak. But I would love for a judge to come in and issue a precedent, a legal precedent, which is important, and say, no, that's real, just like they did in Alabama, just like they did in Minnesota, Florida, and all those other schools that we listed earlier. Why would I love that? Because it clarifies it for LSU and it protects them from future exposure.
It clarifies what exactly?
It clarifies the public records law in Louisiana and that is, in fact, an exception. The reason that it's cloudy and murky is because the dollars spent on revenue share as opposed to NIL, the revenue share dollars come directly through LSU public funds. Every dollar that LSU generates or is funded by taxpayers, and I know I'm not dumb. I know that there are no taxpayer dollars specifically that are going into LSU athletics right now because they're self-generated. But unfortunately, the law says in Louisiana that if a dollar is run through the LSU athletic department, it has to be considered public funds. Public funds are what pay revenue share. So right now, revenue share is exposed until a judge right now issues a precedent, legal precedent, saying that's not exposed, just like they did in Florida. Okay? Then the legislature who make the laws to come in and change the law and totally protect it. And that's my motivation.
So is there any information at all that you're looking for? It's just you just want the precedent changed. And I guess the last piece here would be, and you're suggesting that would benefit LSU in what way?
It would clarify the law so that it wouldn't be exposed. For instance, the USA Today or ESPN couldn't come in and file a public records request and get that information and create what's really would be a competitive disadvantage. I have zero interest in knowing what Sam Levitt or Jordan Seaton or anybody else. I'm speaking for myself, not for Piper or for Chris. I don't know what they think. I think that LSU needs to be protected and not exposed like they are right now. And I believe that LSU welcomes this clarity.
It's an interesting thing, and again, I'm not an attorney, and it is difficult for me to get into all the legal ins and outs and what the laws declare and what money comes from where and what should be available and what's not. And I guess we'll find out in a court of law. Todd, I appreciate some time. Have a great weekend.
You too, Hunt. Thank you.
That's Todd Horn, the executive editor of Tiger Rag Magazine. All right, we'll step aside. I might react to a little bit of that and then come back and also talk a little bit about the SC baseball weekend to come. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, lifetimeroofingla.com is the website, lifetimeroofingla.com. Baton Rouge-based roofing company. They'll service the entire state of Louisiana plus over in Houston, but it's important that you trust your roofer, right? It's important that you trust your roofer because a lot of folks that are going through a potential roof replacement may have had some sort of significant incident. And that's something you can't take lightly, but maybe not. Maybe it's just a situation where you want to get an inspection, and Lifetime Roofing is happy to do that, but they're not going to just give you the most expensive price tag because you called them. They'll go up and inspect that roof. If you don't need anything done, they won't. If you just need a repair, they're happy to do that. Maybe you just need the thing tuned up, fortified, or maybe you need a brand new roof. Any discovery that they make, they're going to be fully transparent with you, and they'll be right here for any questions that you may have. Some roofing companies follow disasters and get as many roofs up as they possibly can, collect checks, and they're out of town. Not Lifetime Roofing. They're based right here in Baton Rouge. Their owners are right here from Baton Rouge, and they care about the community, and they'll be here to help in time of need or when you just need a new roof. And they can promise you that they're going to give you a lifetime workmanship warranty, which includes materials backed by certainty. Financing options, they got them 0% for up to 18 months. If you got a deductible you want to finance, they can do that as well. Check them out online at lifetimeroofingla.com, lifetimeroofingla.com.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
At Parrish, we bring the same commitment to your home that champions bring to the game.
Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction and Roofing.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
Everything you need for a stunning garden is at the Plant Barn in Baton Rouge. From trees and shrubs to plants and pottery, the Plant Barn has it all at great prices. Visit us today on Valley Street, right off Perkins Road in South Downs.
The Cane's Box Combo, a symphony of flavors. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. At Locke Meredith Sean Fagan and Associates, we know each case and client are unique, and that no two cases are the same. But one thing remains constant, and that is our passion to help our clients. After an accident, we know your life has changed, which is why we passionately fight to make you and your family whole. Remember, whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. We're here to serve you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. and we're right there with you.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. CorksFishandShrimp.com is the website, CorksFishandShrimp.com. I've gone on Tiger Rag Radio with Todd a number of times. I've always appreciated his time, and I really appreciate his time coming on today on this Friday. I'm not an attorney, and as I told y'all yesterday, my bread is buttered on the field. I like watching games. I like talking about games. I like previewing games. I like talking about recruits and transfers. I'm not super wild about some of the things that we do have to talk about in here, and I'm not going to shy away from them. But it's certainly outside of my purview and expertise. That was a lot to take in, and candidly, not the way I thought that the interview would go. I had absolutely no intention of being contentious whatsoever with Todd. I wanted his side of the story. As I told y'all yesterday on the air, this was something I was going to need to learn about. I was not going to read that press release yesterday and fly off the handle. I do absolutely see a situation where if LSU is deemed to have to turn over the revenue sharing numbers of its players, where that could create locker room issues and it could create a competitive disadvantage with rivals in the conference who can now look at LSU's books and counter, because that's the world we live in college sports. Todd says he's not trying to determine that. He said he's trying to protect LSU and trying to make sure that ESPN can't come in and get that information, which to me is not at all what I would have expected him to say with the suit that is being filed. It also appears, and I lumped them in, said y'all, I just assumed 3 people who filed the same request and were denied the same way and who have been represented by the exact same attorney were kind of in lockstep, and it appears that that's not the case at this point. So you can draw your own conclusions, and I have no earthly idea how this is going to go in court. We've heard from an attorney that Preston talked about in the first hour saying that they believe that this will be granted. The suit will go in favor of the plaintiffs, and LSU will have to turn things over. I'm not sure how deep that goes, and I guess we'll react to that if and when it comes up. But it sounded to me like Todd was looking for a precedent to be set that protected LSU from this, which in my head, which is not an attorney's head, suggests that the intention would be to lose the case. But I don't want to speak for Todd. I'm doing my own talk show here and editorializing on that, and it's just not exactly what I envisioned that conversation going like. So I hope that it was informative for you, and I again really appreciate Todd for coming on and giving his side of the story here on this Friday.
Hunt, if you got pulled over by a cop and he said, I'm giving you a ticket so that you don't get one in the future, would you be happy with that?
I don't want a ticket.
Well, I'm just trying to understand
one
here.
time I was headed to Starkville and I got a ticket, and the same cop pulled me over like 2 miles later, and I went, this is going to be so bad. I'm going to go to jail. You can't get 2 tickets from one guy in 5 minutes. And he, in front of me, ripped the ticket up and handed it back to me.
No way. Well, hold on. What
Mississippi
were you doing?
Trooper.
What were you doing to get the second one? Same thing, speed?
I think he pulled me over to rip it up. But I'm confident within 5 minutes of getting a speeding ticket that I didn't ramp it back up to 85.
That's why I was like, goodness.
So I think he just pulled me over to rip it up. It was a weird deal. I was going to Starkville to cover a game.
Yeah.
The 2013 LSU game was on a Thursday. It was Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry and all those guys, and they scored a ton of points. And I got pulled over, and then they pulled me over right after that and ripped my ticket.
So you didn't get a ticket?
I did not. I got one. It was then ripped up.
Okay. The original one was ripped up.
I got a refund on the ticket.
My dad always tells me, like, when they write the ticket, once they start writing it, they have to give it to you because like they're charged per ticket. So I guess that dude took one for the team. Shout out to him. That is actually, you know what?
It was a good story.
Is actually getting pulled over and good news. You found one.
Let's talk a little bit about LSU and Vanderbilt again tonight. There are 2 guys in these 2 lineups that I think are particularly important in this series. Obviously, it's Jake Brown for LSU, who has been LSU's best player far and away to this point. He's hitting north of 400. He's got 9 home runs, and he's taken the next step from a really good player last year to a star. His OPS is 1335, which is a complete joke. It won't stay there because it's non-conference competition, but it's been incredible. And then you look at the Vanderbilt side, and it's Braden Holcomb, who is a football player by trade. He was a really good high school football player. He is 6'5". He is 245 pounds. He is big. He is physical, and he has blossomed into a star there in Nashville. He's already got 10 home runs prior to conference play. He's got 3 in Vanderbilt's last 4 games. He's hitting 353. His OPS is 1278, which is astronomical as well. These two guys are going to be focal points. There are certainly other guys in the lineups that can hurt you. I don't think Vanderbilt's completely unaware of Derek Curiel. I don't think they're completely unaware of Zach York and what Stephen Milam can do. And Vanderbilt is second in the country in homers, and it's not all Holcomb with 10. They've got a bunch of guys up and down the order that can beat you deep. But in a weekend like this, with so much on the line for these two teams that have gotten off to rough starts, you've got to lean on your stars to an extent, and vice versa. You can't let those stars beat you. Now, you get them up to the plate with the bases loaded and 1 out, you're going to have to make pitches. But if they're up with 1 on and 2 out, you probably got to be a little bit careful. If you want to attack them, do it with nobody on base. Solo homers probably not going to crush you against these two pitching staffs that have had some issues throwing strikes. But those two guys are going to be vital in this weekend series. And again, I want to make it clear, Vanderbilt has moved its fences in this year. So it's a little bit of a different ballpark than it has played the last couple of years. This is one, and I'll kind of wrap the LSU-Vanderbilt discussion with this. I'm going to do my best not to overreact on Monday. There's 30 of these things. And when you consider that LSU started 3-12 last year, or 2 years ago, and made the tournament and was playing really good when they got to Chapel Hill, last year Florida, a lot of y'all probably don't remember this, Florida last year was 1-11 in SEC play. That means they got swept 3 of the first 4 weekends and lost the other series. They were 1-11. They made the tournament. It's a long season. LSU's got to play better. But 30 games is a long, long time. And I told you yesterday, it's very important to get off to a good start. It is not the end-all, be-all of the season to start 2-1. If LSU goes and gets swept this weekend, it would be hard to overreact. At that point, you're leaking oil in a monster way. But if you win a game and lose 2 and one of them's really close, or maybe both are really close, it doesn't mean that they're toast. It's easy to think that way down here, but I'm going to try not to overreact. If you win 2 out of 3, that's really good. If you sweep, you'll feel super awesome. And I don't think I'll overreact to a sweep because nobody here thinks that way, that you've got it figured out if you win 3 games on the road. But if things go on the downside, you have to fight an overreaction with 27 league games to go. I got asked by our sales team earlier today, because they sell packages for postseason baseball. We carry it on Eagle 98.1, and you can buy sponsorships during those games. And obviously they're heavily paid attention to. And our sales team said, what are the chances LSU plays in the postseason? And I thought about it, and I went, well, I mean, Smoke missed it his last year. Paul missed it his first year, and Paul missed it 2 after the title. They didn't go in 11. So it's 3 times they've missed it in a billion years almost, since the 80s. So LSU generally finds its level, and we're not trying to get into postseason. That's not the bar here. But I'm just, as I did yesterday laying out the schedule, I understand how visceral reactions can be in this fan base, and I try to kind of grease the skids a little bit to make sure that we don't go nuts with a small sample size. The non-conference didn't help perception about this team, and a loss in series number 1 is not going to help perception of this team. But no matter what LSU does against Vanderbilt this weekend, they are about to come home for 2 weekends against Oklahoma and Kentucky. That is 6 games coming up at home. So there's just a lot. I'm trying to make sure that I don't fly off the handle, and that maybe you don't fly off the handle this weekend. I've got urgency here. I told you yesterday this is This is the third easiest series to me that LSU will play, and that might sound ridiculous, but when you go on the road, things are really tough, and some of your home series are not going to be a walk in the park. A&M's not going to be a walk in the park. Oklahoma, with those two pitchers, not going to be a walk in the park. Kentucky's got an ace. So it's just a long season. It starts tonight. Go try to win a baseball game tonight. If you don't win tonight, give the ball to Cooper Moore, and let's go see what you can do. If you lose the first two, Vanderbilt's 1-3 on Sundays to this point, and you got William Schmidt, who's throwing the best baseball he's thrown since he got to campus. Go win that one. I think LSU's going to find a way. I think LSU is going to win this weekend. I think they're going to win 2 out of 3. I think Vanderbilt strikes out too much. I think that LSU has a pretty good chance to see Vanderbilt's second and third starters. I think there are some guys in that bullpen that LSU can get to that walk some guys. And I really like Evans. I really like his matchup keeping Vanderbilt in the ballpark. I like Moore keeping the ball in the strike zone. And I like Schmidt striking guys out. And I like Sheeran. And I like Guidry. And I like Plog. And I like Garcia. And I think that that's enough to go get a couple this weekend. And I think LSU will. We'll find out. Things will start at 6 o'clock if you want to listen tonight. 5:30 on Eagle 98.1, our sister station. It'll be Chris Blair and Bill Franquez on the call from Hawkins Field up there in Nashville. It's time. 30-game grind. Trying to get to 20 any way you possibly can. Feel like if you get to 18 or 19, you're in really good shape as well. Starts with 1. We'll see when LSU's first one comes. Hopefully it is tonight from Nashville. Take a time out. We'll talk some Saints. Travis Etienne had a great press conference today. We'll hear from him next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com. You're knocking off of work. Time to play some golf. Go do it at Swing Easy Golf Club. Thinking, well, I like to listen to some tunes and I like to hang out when I'm playing golf. Let's have a couple of drinks. That's what you do at Swing Easy. They'll bring you a bucket full of ice with a bunch of beers in it, bunch of seltzers in it. They got you covered there. Want to crank some tunes? They got a turtle box in all 3 rooms. Comfortable seating. Play TPC Sawgrass. That's where the pros are. I saw a pro make a quadruple bogey today. It was atrocious. Tom Hoagie, you can do better than that. Tee it up. See if you can beat Tom Hoagie on that hole. Try your luck on the Island 17th green. That's all part of the weekend activities over there at Swing Easy Golf Club. Go by and see them at Segan, at Perkins. You can get a tee time online at swingeasygcbr.com. Memberships are available as well. Segan at Perkins at Swing Easy Golf Club, swingeasygcbr.com.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. Now the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. If you're battling an insurance company because of a wreck not your fault and they're not calling you back or being fair, whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555, or email Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. You have nothing to lose.
Hello, I'm Collins Meredith. If you've been injured on the job, you'll likely have a workers' compensation claim, but you may also have a tort claim which opens up significant recovery rights not normally available for a work injury. If this is you, call us or come see us at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Todd Golden and the Florida Gators are playing some good basketball. They just beat Kentucky, holding the Cats to 63 points on 36% shooting. Cats were 5 of 23 from deep. Florida just kind of a machine. They had 4 of their starters in double figures. Condon was the big scorer today. Hall had 13, and it's just such a big team. They're just so big, and they just put it to Kentucky and beat them by 8 points in the SEC tournament. They'll be moving on. Let's talk some Saints. Of course, one of the big names in free agency that New Orleans has acquired is Travis Etienne from Jennings, Louisiana, who went to Clemson and then was with Jacksonville and now has come back to Louisiana to play for the Saints. He had a wonderful press conference today, and we're going to hear some of those clips that should hit the heartstrings here for those of you who are born and raised in Louisiana and love the black and gold. The first bite we're going to play has nothing to do with football. Travis Etienne, who I've known since 2016 on the recruiting trail, that's the wrong name.
Growing up, it's Travis Etienne, so it'd be like Achane, and that's how you always said Travis Etienne. But when I went to college, I kept telling them my name like every day, and like after like 4 weeks, they just couldn't get it. So I'm like, man, it's Etienne. Like, how you see it is how you say it, and it kind of just took off because it was easy for the pronouncers to say it. I didn't have to correct them every day to say my name. And just when I kind of just started learning more about my last name and how it came about and things like that, it just kind of stuck and made sense. But I'm very much open to being Travis Etienne again, just being myself. I don't have to correct people here on how to say my name each and every day.
Crazy. We've known this guy for a decade. He was a big-time 4-star running back recruit, went to Clemson, set the ACC touchdowns record. LSU played him in the Superdome for a national championship. High draft pick, goes to Jacksonville running for 1,000 yards, and everyone's saying his name wrong. I'm kind of a stickler for pronunciations. It is kind of the job. And so I got to get this into my brain. We got to go Travis Etienne.
It's hard, man. It's hard.
So he said, I'm open to being A-Chain. Does that mean I have to?
You don't have to do anything.
No, you
don't have to do anything except turn over public
I'm
records.
good with pronunciation as well. I've always had this thought of like, you've had 20 years to change it and you haven't. I just kind of like the way it is. I like Etienne.
Travis Etienne. Yeah. That's what we're going to go with. I'm going to try. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make every effort to make that the case. But in any event, he's really excited to be back home, and it may not just be because of his name. I mean, this is a guy from Jennings, Louisiana, and he talked about kind of the full circle moment of coming home.
I feel like I'm just a humble servant, honestly. Just from being from Jennings, a small town of 10,000. You know, people would tell you not to have dreams of being here in this moment. And for me to be here in this moment, I didn't have that person to look up to growing up to show me the way or to be able to reach out to be able to contact and just get advice from. You know, so I just want everyone to know that they can always reach out to me. I'm a real easy person to get in touch with. And just to be that person, just to be that beacon for the community, to let kids know, man, never stop dreaming. You can do whatever you want to do. And me standing here in this moment is just a real reflection of that. And I just want to be a person for them that they can come to at any time whenever they think things are too hard. I like that. So I'm just here being a servant, honestly.
That's a guy who's going to be involved in this community so easily. And it makes a lot of sense. How many small town kids are in this state that have aspirations of playing for the Saints, that have aspirations of being what Travis Etienne has become? There are thousands of them. And because of, just speaking on the history of the state, like, there are some that will live that dream There's a lot of professional football players per capita from this part of the world, and Travis Etienne is just the latest to become a New Orleans Saint, and he spoke about looking up to the black and gold as a kid in Jennings.
Going to my grandma and my grandpa's house each and every Sunday, we were watching the Saints, man. And just when Katrina happened, and you know how the city rallied behind them, and it's just to be a part of that, just to be a part of that history, and to come back here and just I feel like I've seen the highs of the Saints and seen where we've been recently, and we just want to get back to where we was playing a high level of football. And I'm glad they believe in me to come in here and be a key piece of that. And I just want to thank everyone for that, you know. And I'm excited to see where we take it. You know, sky's the limit for us.
He called the Saints we twice in the past tense when he didn't play for the Saints. I think that's cool. That's something. Now, college has changed. College football's changed a little bit, and money is a big driving force. But there's no like draft in college football. You get to pick where you go, and that's a big deal. And it's a we thing. It's a we mentality. That's a really cool to hear it on the professional ranks from a guy who grew up watching this team every single Sunday. And of course, when you're watching from small town Jennings, watching the black and gold, they're in the Dome. It's one of the most recognizable buildings in this state. Put it up there with Tiger Stadium, the Capitol, and then whatever you see on Bourbon Street or certainly in St. Louis Square. But he gets to play his home games there now.
I remember just growing up when I first started playing football in Jennings, Louisiana. All 4 years, my goal was to get to a state championship, and we all know the state championship is played here in this stadium. And all 4 years, I came up short. You know, I didn't get there, and man, just to think, I was thinking state championship when I feel like in hindsight, 2020, God wanted me to be thinking Super Bowl. And I'm just grateful that I have that moment, and I'm here to be able to taste the Super Bowl inside this stadium, and I couldn't ask for anything more than that.
I like to hear the Saints talking about Super Bowls. Now, Jeremy Hill used to sit right here in this chair, and he told me when you go to training camp in late July, and he played on some bad teams, every team thinks they're going to the Super Bowl. He's like, no, everybody thinks they're going. And like we sit here and we look at odds, and we know who's not going to be very good. But, I mean, I'm pretty comfortable suggesting the Arizona Cardinals are not going to the Super Bowl next year. That's just a feeling on my part. But they'll think that. And so anybody could talk about it, but it's nice to hear at least that the Saints have intentions of being really, really good. And one of the backbones of that is, of course, Tyler Shuck. And as Shuck was winning games and the Saints were winning games, and it kind of looked like you might have your dude, you knew that was going to be beneficial in multiple ways. One, he's obviously a very good player. Two, you get help from the salary cap because he's on a rookie contract and he's playing the most expensive position. And three, maybe because of his emergence and you got a little bit extra money to spend, you might be able to get some free agents to show up because there's hope. And Etienne talked about that, and I just said his name wrong.
It definitely was a factor, but I mean, whenever the Saints reached out, I don't think it was nothing else that could have stopped me from coming here. Honestly, I wasn't thinking Saints pre-free agency because I didn't really know that. I didn't know like they had injuries or anything. But whenever the Saints came available, man, it was kind of like a no-brainer to me.
So maybe not Shuck. Maybe just I got to come home. But Shuck is the foundational piece of what the Saints are building towards. And that's what Etienne talked about. After that, I did it again.
Tyler, like you say, I feel like he's a great person. I feel like, and just talking with him and being with him last night, you could sense the hunger. You know, you could sense that he wants it for the city as well. And whenever you got just a building with the passion and the guys and the energy and like the things they're trying to get going around here, I feel like it's easy to just want to buy into that. And especially when you got a coach who's been to the Super Bowl, who's won the Super Bowl, and has a blueprint. You know, it's easy to get behind that. And I just want to get in there with the guys. You know, start building that chemistry for the season because whenever things get tough on that field, you're going to rely on that brotherhood that you built.
That is such a refreshing quote because of where the Saints were a year and a half ago, where you had a lame duck coach that people didn't like, that didn't have a great relationship with the players. You had a quarterback that was in charge of the offense, who was getting in fight with linemen. And no matter what you think about Dennis Allen or what you think about Derek Carr and how well he coached and how well he played quarterback or how toxic he was, like, no matter your thoughts on the matter, what's inarguable is that the culture within the organization broke down. It was just very, very obvious. And you hope, first and foremost, when a new coach comes in, that gets fixed. And the Saints did not have a great season last year. You're picking in the top 10 in the draft because you lost a ton of games. But if you can lay the foundation and set a culture, you can create an environment that, one, people want to go to work in, and two, people want to come be a part of. And Etienne maybe at this point wanted to come anyway because he's from Jennings, and we got that. But he was a free agent. This is not a trade. This is not a draft pick. He could pick, and he obviously took the phone call, took the meeting, and he's telling you that they've got a great culture inside the building, that the coach does have a blueprint, that has won a Super Bowl. And I think all that is important. And so this is just a very, very enlightening press conference. I bash on press conferences all the time, and I'm in the media. I realize the hypocrisy in that, but I feel that way because most press conferences suck. They're either agenda-driven or cliche-driven or in half-truths. Most of them are worthless. Some are good. Some are entertaining. The ones that are super entertaining, we hear a billion times. Diddly-poo, playoffs, they are who we thought they were. When there's a great press conference, you know about the press conference. Most press conferences are not. And this one isn't going to go viral, but if you're here in Louisiana and you grew up a Saints fan and you're excited about the future and you could hear it in Etienne's voice and it sounds like you growing up, that's cool. And I thought today Travis Etienne's press conference was awesome. So I'm excited about his time in New Orleans. He's obviously happy about his time in New Orleans starting up, and it's been a really, really good week for the Saints, and that's been a lot of fun to cover. We'll come back and maybe react to that with Jordan and Taylor, and we'll close out the week next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. Speaking of South Louisiana, St. Francisville's kind of in South Louisiana, right? I mean, it's north of I-10, but I would suggest that's South Louisiana. I'm a Shreveport guy. That's way up north. Make the short drive to St. Francisville and get into a new ride. They've got incredible deals on their trucks, up to $11,000 off MSRP on Silverados, up to 1.9 APR financing as well. You're talking about up to $13,000 off GMC Sierras that you could get 0.0 APR financing if that's something you're into. Go take a test drive up there in St. Francisville. You know the Fabry family. They've been here for 3.5 decades. They're going to give you a wonderful buying experience. Your customer service is going to be fantastic. You'll get service after the sale as well. They've been doing it for 3.5 decades. They can do it for you. Make the short drive to St. Francisville. They're open today, open a half day tomorrow. 6 days a week they're open there, and you can check out the inventory online always, every day, 24/7 at FabryChevrolet.com.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith with Locke Meredith Sean Fagan & Associates. We take great pride in educating our clients about their rights. Whether you're injured at work or while you drive, call our office at 272-5555. Knowledge is power, and you should know your rights after an injury.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith Sean Fagan & Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit LouisianaPropane.com.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Before we get out of here, let's give a shout out to One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. If you got one of those 90s style big old jacuzzi tubs that you don't ever use or that you haven't used in a while because it's broken, think of how much space that bathtub takes up. Get rid of it. Put in a walk-in shower. If you're going to already have a shower, it's a stand-in shower over there. Well, you can turn that into a linen closet. It's One Bath and Closets. David and his team can do an entire remodel of your bathroom if it's dated, if it's not functional, if you just don't like it. David and his team can help you with that. It starts with a consultation. That part's free. Just reach out to David at OneBathAndClosets.com. Have him come in and say what he can do for you. You want financing? They got it. 0% up to 18 months. Want a brand new tub? They can do it. Brand new shower? They can do it. Flooring? They can do it. Vanities? Got it. It's One Bath and Closets. They're licensed, bonded, and insured. They'll do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. They're online at OneBathAndClosets.com. Take it or leave it?
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, so we have to start it off with my favorite franchise to point and laugh at. The Atlanta Falcons. So the starting quarterback position for the Atlanta Falcons is officially up for grabs. So the general manager today, Ian Cunningham, told reporters, Tua knows he's coming to compete. Michael knows he's coming to compete. There's no starter at this time. So will Tua be starting week 1 for the Falcons? Take it or leave it?
I will take it.
I'll take it. Yep.
I think he will be out of the lineup by October 1st.
Okay. All right.
I mean, what's the track record here? You think he's going to play the whole season?
No, but I also just think Michael Penix stinks.
How about this for a question? If you're the Falcons,
yes,
and you've got 2 left-handed quarterbacks,
yep,
do you need to switch your tackles if there's 2 of them?
Hey, they also have a T-Bob. They have a left-handed center.
What?
Yes, they have a left-handed center too.
I got to say.
It's the bizarro world in Atlanta.
All lefties.
As a fellow lefty, kind of enjoy an all-lefty QB room.
I gotta say something.
Even with the Falcons, I'll give them props.
I gotta say something. We're talking about the Falcons.
Yep.
We're talking about what's going on, and Jordan's got this grin on his face over there. I don't think he respects the Falcons this year. I don't think he thinks this organization's heading in the right direction. I think he's talking trash. I think he thinks he's going to dominate the Falcons.
Well, they're probably not going to have their elite pass rusher either. So,
man, please get him out the league. Listen, please. I'm watching that James Pierce trial. Get watching. Him out the league. Get him out the league. Please get him out the league. I mean, Hunt, we're talking about a QB competition between Tua and Michael Penix. I feel great about what the Falcons got going on. We got Caden Ellis too. Like, it's just. Whatever they got going on,
they got Bijan.
Congrats. All right. And they got a left-handed center. So congratulations to the Falcons. Speaking of quarterbacks, let's stay on the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, they got a T-Bob. The Minnesota Vikings have agreed to a 1-year contract with quarterback Kyler Murray. So the Vikings will pay $1 million out of his salary. The Cardinals are going to fork the other $36 million. Yeah, so they got him on a nice deal. So drafting a quarterback top 10 with J.J. McCarthy and then signing Kyler Murray. What's going on Minnesota?
I'll take it because if you're going to take Kyler Murray for $1 million, whatever, that's fine. As to quote the great Charles Hannaford during COVID, he's free. He's $1 million. Yeah, I'll take a quarterback for $1 million. He's a good athlete. He's won some games in the league. Like, I'm not taking him for $38 million, but one? Come on, I got room for you in Minnesota for that. Get you a Juicy Lucy.
And also, they're going to do that. But at the same time, again, I know I just said the J.J. McCarthy thing, but how is that going to play out? Because everybody knows you bring Kyler in, it's pretty much like he's going to take the job. Like, there's no way you bring him in and think J.J. is going to.
Well, I don't disagree with that. Like, let the best man win.
I agree.
I don't care about salary. Who's good at football? Put them in.
They're only paying him $1 million too, so.
Exactly.
Yeah. Taylor?
Look, he was bad. There must be a lot going on behind the scenes because you see teams give first-round quarterbacks a lot of leash. Last year was technically his first year playing because he was hurt all last year. They are moving on quick. There must be some behind-the-scenes stuff we don't know about.
How about the fact that he never threw the ball in college?
True.
What about that?
Yeah, that's 1,000%.
Just hand it
right.
off.
Yeah, Blake Corn's pretty good. You know,
they were. What was that game? Penn State, where
he was like 9 for 9.
Well, they ran it like 31 times in a row in the second half. It was when Harbaugh was suspended and Sharon Moore was calling the plays. Yeah. Sharon Moore may not have known how to call a pass play, to be candid. I don't have a lot of respect for Sharon Moore's coaching acumen. I got a small sense that his decision making is questionable, and that Harbaugh might have been driving that bus. Just a theory I'm workshopping.
Yeah, you know, we're just doing our part and just analyzing what's going on out there. We're not doing too much. Okay,
professional analyst.
So to wrap this up, the Big 12 is making a transition from this glass LED court and going back to a traditional hardwood because players were seen slipping and falling, and one player from Iowa State he pulled his groin slipping on the court yesterday. So having a glass LED court for the Big 12 championship, take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it.
Leave it alone.
Surprise, surprise. The guy that thinks all the uniforms are stupid thinks putting a neon glow-in-the-dark LED court is cool. Who are we marketing to? Third graders? Can we play some basketball, please? The court's fine. I just don't understand. And now I'm all worked up, coughing. We're trying to go for the weekend. That's it for Take It or Leave It. That's it for us today. If you missed any today, catch it on demand. Thanks to Todd Horn for Tiger Rag for jumping by. Preston Guy, TigerBait.com, as well as Andrew Allegretta from Vanderbilt. Come on, Tigers. Go win 2 out of 3 in Nashville. Either way, we're talking about it Monday. Matt will drive you home next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
It is Colon Cancer Awareness Month, and that's important because colon cancer is a very, very common cancer, but it is preventable and treatable when it's caught early, and that is the key here. Screening can detect precancerous polyps before they turn into cancer. That is the most favorable outcome, obviously, but you're not going to catch those polyps unless you get the screening done. Adults should begin at 45. If you've got a family history, maybe you need to do a little bit of screening earlier. Even if you feel healthy, screening is still very, very important. Colonoscopy remains the gold standard, and talking with your providers is so important because they can help determine the best choice for you. Having an established relationship with your primary care provider makes it all the difference. They can guide you to the right screenings at the right time. Schedule a colonoscopy, make an appointment with Ochsner Health, and they can make sure that your GI specialist can start that conversation with you. Check them out at ochsner.org/schedule, ochsner.org/schedule.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor or the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
Lockmere